Hello, I wonder if you've heard of the Omphaloskepsi or Omphaloskepsis. This is navel gazing. There's a lot of it going on at the moment, particularly in the Conservative Party, when people should actually be dealing with running our country and dealing with national crises. There's not just one national crisis, there's a number, and there's a global crisis, and we cannot abhor, we must abhor a vacuum at the centre of government. It's unacceptable. Who is running our government at this moment? It is simply, well, I suppose it's Raab, isn't it? Who is running our government? Raab. Well, maybe he's on the ball for once, or maybe he's thinking of going back to Crete and sunning himself. I wouldn't trust Mr. Raab to run our government in the summer. All he really wants to do is slap on number 10 and turn over. So, who are these Omphaloskepsi? There's two sorts of navel gazers. There's the self-indulgent type that actually is gazing downward and doing nothing, which I'm afraid are the people at the moment that we observe daily in the news. And then there's the mystics, who I think it's the 16th century in the south of Italy. This was the Greek community in the south of Italy, led by a man called Gregory Palamas, and they're sometimes called the Hesychists. And they were criticised, actually. They were lampooned for being, quote, navel gazers. And it's a practice which very much continues today on the Holy Mountain, on Mount Athos, where people use the Jesus prayer, which is a recitation of a mantra, to gradually slow their breathing and then ultimately to slow their heart rate. And I think whether one is taking a sort of religious or a secular view, this idea of slowing the heart rate, this idea of slowing the breathing is very good. I certainly try very hard to practice it when I've got to telephone the bank or an insurance company, or indeed a mobile telephone company. Your call is important to us. No, it's not. I know it's not. And it's just a blind lie. And it does drive me to distraction. The only thing that is of any value is to start breathing and to calm down as much as possible. And I find that practice very useful. It's, as I said, it's often called the hesychist practice. And hesychism is about silence. Hesychism is simply, the hesychast controversy is a controversy about those people who believed in silence. Well, silence really is golden, and unless you are silent, you don't hear. The hesychasts forged ahead a new idea about the relationship that we can have with God, but it's a relationship that we can have with one another. If you are silent, you hear things. You hear a sort of sense of what is right, and it goes beyond what you can hear physically. I was incredibly grateful, in a way, to have been on the show The Circle. I'm not grateful for what happened afterwards, but certainly the actual experience of being on the show and the physical reality of the filming and being in that apartment was great. The silence was genuinely golden. The silence was incredibly fortuitous. And people asked me, so afterwards, how did I know, for example, that Jay was actually his mother? Well, I just knew because I was being silent and I was listening to the sort of deeper conversation that was going on. I was listening to the rhythm of the words that were being typed on the screen. I wasn't trying particularly to catch catfish, but it just happened. And certainly I also knew that James was not a single mother. It didn't matter. I realised that despite all the game, I liked him. And I would like him when I met him in reality. And that's it. If you are silent, you hear things. And we could do with a lot more listening, a lot more silence in our society today, and a lot less noise. And with particular respect to Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, they should listen to one another a little. Liz Truss particularly Liz Truss should listen to anybody rather than follow the ridiculous scripts that she's given. She should possibly start by listening to herself and listening to the consistency or the lack of consistency that she manifests. And if anybody were to tell her that she is inconsistent, that she is all over the place, she would say, well, you haven't heard properly. This listening, we have to listen with a certain amount of humility, and we have to recognize that we might be wrong and that we need to change our mind. And changing your mind is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And for that matter, dear Mr. Putin should change his mind occasionally, or dramatically. On Sunday afternoon, I'm having a conversation about The Circle, about reality TV, and about the forthcoming revival of Big Brother with Akeem Griffiths. And Akeem was one of the last finalists in the final season of Big Brother, which was screened on Channel 5. It's coming back to ITV. I don't know what I think about that. But I think there is a place to democratize television, and reality television could be that way forward, but it needs to be better protected, and that means that people like Nadine Dorries need to wake up and actually start doing their job or be replaced. We need to make sure that television is safe for the people who are performing in it, and safe for the large audiences that are watching it. We cannot say, oh, reality TV is awful and we should ban it. It's never going to be banned now. It's a cheap way of making television, and it's an opportunity. We should seize the opportunity. We should cherish what is good rather than encourage what is bad. And I'm also doing a podcast in the morning on Sunday with a nice group of people called the Sunday Roast, I think. And we're going to be talking, I'm sure, about the cost of living and some bits and pieces. I don't think Mr. Putin is going to get a look in. Well, I'm sure I'm going to end up talking about him because I can't talk about anything else. But I don't think we're scheduled to be discussing Mr. Putin. But I'm sure we will discuss many other things, and I look forward to finding you all there. That's going to be on there. They're hosting it. I'll see if I can drop a link to that below here, and I'll also drop a link to Akeem Griffiths' Instagram channel, so you can find the two of us in the afternoon on Sunday chattering away about the future of reality TV, and incidentally, I think Akeem's very keen that we discuss how you apply to be on reality TV. Well, I've got a simple answer to that one. You'll have to come and listen to us to find out what my simple answer is. Have fun.